we got to get a leash for these three guys, or at least the muzzle. Why? It's 4th and goal. Let's meet our panelists. WICB pre- and post-game co-host Mike Schwartz, ICTV sports analyst Mike Kaminskas, and WICB pre- and post-game co-host Sam Kuperman join me now on the show. Boys, pleasure having you.
Pleasure to be here, Mia.
Coming into this week, guys, the wide receiver position was still a question mark. After the performance put on by Joel Lynch and Vito Buffoli this week, though, is it still an uncertainty? Mike Schwartz, let's start with you.
Well, first of all, Mia, I don't know about a muzzle tonight, but you have to understand, I think Vito Buffoli has the talent. He's been having the talent throughout practice. Phil Newman is loving throwing at him, and he is just such an excitement during practice, so I think he definitely proved it yesterday. Joel Lynch is still limited from his injury early in the season, so he really has to step up and continue. But this team cannot rely on Steve Del Moro and Jared Pruger as their tight ends. They need more depth in the offense because tight ends isn't going to win just games.
Mike Kaminskas, you joining the Vito Joel train just yet?
Yeah, you know, I definitely am. I have to agree with Mike over there on that one. You know, these two guys stepping up big. They each had 5 catches, you know. A lot of that's because the attention was on Jared Pruger a lot of that game. It really opened up the game for Lynch and Vito. You know, it's definitely something that we're going to see more this season, a more balanced attack for the Bombers. The run game also really wasn't working. These two out wide really stepped up and made some big plays. Huge targets are Phil Newman as he got his 3,000 passing yards of his career.
That's for sure. Sam Kuperman, what's your take?
Well, I mean, these receivers have the potential to be legitimate, but right now I'm not sold on them. Look, Vito had a nice game and all obviously coming up clutch there at the end, but 3 of those 5 catches, he had 5 catches for 68 yards in the day. 3 of those came on the last drive alone. So throughout the game, Phil really was having trouble connecting with his receivers. Joel had a decent game. He's still not 100% healthy, as Mike said.
Not 100%, no, definitely not.
Yeah, so until these guys are ready to go, until Phil can constantly rely on them, he's not going to be able to get the ball to Pruger all the time. Pruger only had 1 catch yesterday because the D just focused in on him. So until these guys prove themselves throughout the game and not just on one drive, I'm not 100% sold on them.
My point is just saying that opponents know the danger between Steve Del Moro and Jared Pruger, and even scouting teams during practice are double teaming these tight ends because they know about the dangerous tight ends.
So where's the certainty then? So why are you saying you're certain on them if you're saying that you're basically proving my point here, Mike?
I'm uncertain about what your answer is because I'm certain because I know that Steve Del Moro and Jared Pruger are extremely dangerous. I think Vito Buffoli, like I just said, is extremely talented. Joel Lynch really has to step up. Matt Pinska is doing great. He has such talent. They just need to apply that in their game so it's not just tight end. No matter how
But where's the certainty? That's my point. Where is the certainty? There is no certainty right now.
Sam, you know, certainly it comes in the 4th quarter when someone needs to step up big. There was a lot of heart in that play. It's the play of the game for a reason, the play of the week. Vito came up clutch right there. That's enough certainty right there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, enough on the offensive side of the ball. The
Muzzle
Bengals
time.
able to tack on back-to-back touchdowns in the 4th quarter, and perhaps we got our first look at an Ithaca defense when it is not at its absolute best. But is this a cause for concern going forward for the Bombers? Mike Kaminskas, let's start with you.
You know, you could always kind of say that there's some concern when something like that happens, but I remember a couple weeks ago we found ourselves here looking at the first game, 4 turnovers for the Bombers. You know, we thought that might be a concern too. It really wasn't. You know, lapses like this do happen. The Bombers still have that strong defense, led by Will Carter, who had a sack on 4th down and caused a turnover. Mike Sheldon had another sack in the game that was huge right there. They also had 7 players with 6 tackles on the day. These guys know how to find the ball carrier and take the offense down.
The name Jake Santora definitely rings a bell. I mean, he cannot get away from the highlights, averaging 11 tackles on the season, already having 33 thus far in the season, just through 3 games. He's absolutely great. Plus, you still got Brian Garvey, Mike Volcano. There's so much depth in this defense.
Nobody's questioning the depth here, Mike. That's not a question.
Well,
everybody knows the Bombers team has the potential to be a legitimate defense, and they've proven that through the first 3 games.
They're fantastic right now.
However, here, the issue at hand is, in the 4th quarter, Casey Katz and this Buffalo State offense just absolutely picked them apart. And a veteran team like that should not be giving up 2 big drives like that. 70 plays both times. The first drive was 72 yards, second 62 yards.
I like the passion, boys, but it's time for our last question of the night. Ithaca heading to Oneonta next weekend to face the 3-0 Hartwick Hawks. Hawks finished last season 3-7, yet they're undefeated in the young season. So, guys, I got to ask, who you got this weekend, Hawks or the Bombers?
Bombers.
Bombers all the way.
Bombers. I bring out the rally towel again, but we'll see.
All right, boys. Thanks for coming on the program, and we'll see what happens this coming weekend as the Ithaca College Bombers do indeed travel to Oneonta to square off with the Hartwick Hawks at 2 p.m. And we'll be back next Sunday at 9 p.m. with highlights and analysis from this Empire 8 matchup. Whew, did we make it on time? My heart's still racing from that Buffoli grab. Oh, you too? Yeah, me too. As always, for all of us here at the Gridiron Report, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.